Hey you guys, welcome back. So we are going to do garden tour 12. This is going to be a front yard garden in Fort Pierce, Florida, as I stand underneath the clematis vines. But this is an Asian inspired garden, which is very, very new for me. I did this garden a couple years ago, and I think it was so charming. We just did their backyard tour, which was all but jungle in the backyard, and so the front yard has a whole different feel to it, which I love. That personality shift. I think that every space should be your space, and if I had a big enough garden, I'd literally have garden for all parts of the world there, and just because that's just my thing. But so this is an Asian inspired garden, and you guys will have to let me know what you think. But we have a lot of mix of existing material that was here, so we worked with a lot of things that was here and kind of repurposed what we could, and incorporated some new things. So I'll share with you both. That way you can see what's what. First, we repurposed her boulders. They were in a different spot, but I love them at the front part of the garden, as they really anchor the front entranceway. I just think they're so super, super cool. We're thinking at one point we might end up doing a water feature with them, having them kind of bubble through those holes, or do something else with that. But we've done multiple phases for these clients, as you guys can imagine. So we'll have to see what we end up doing there. This is yellow thryallis. Yellow thryallis is blooming in the early part of summer, so they're not quite there yet. They've got some good growth on them, but they haven't had a chance to really flush out with the season. But when they do, they're going to have that gorgeous yellow tassel right by the front, which to me, anytime that they're surrounded with boulders, I just think they give you that kind of natural beachy kind of look. That I needed a little bit of softness up here because we have a lot of formal, clean lines within this garden, so if I can mix any of that in there, then I have a tendency to do so. Here is a little gem magnolia that was an existing tree. Then my clients are so patient. They've been really, really working with this tree. I'm not sure if it's gonna last, but they're doing their best with it. Down below, we've encircled it with some dwarf collusia. And then this is a dwarf poinsettia tree, and you can kind of see that blooms all through the winter, and you can see it still has some blooms left from the season. So we are currently shooting in March. We're going to get a batch of these videos done together while Bryce is here and helping me shoot. But isn't that a lovely little tree? And they grow so slow. So if you've got a spot in your garden that gets good sun, that you want something with a blast of color, that is a lovely, lovely tree. And to me, it has that Asian kind of look to it. So I've surrounded it with some foxtail ferns, some dwarf cedars, and again, some foxtail ferns. Now, we outlined this whole bed with some boulders that we dug into the ground, so that way they're somewhat level, and kind of gave a nice little edge to their bed. And then, is this not the most beautiful Imperialis bromeliad? The greens are so hard to come by. I don't see them very often, but it is absolutely a stunner in my eyes. And Bryce, if you look in here, you can see how this whole set of leaves is just about to pop up out of it. Isn't nature cool? It's just such a cool plant. And then, so we have Tahitian gray granite here. You'll have to kind of look past the rust of the water. That's the only negative to the yard, unfortunately, is that they have to deal with that rust water. But it does give you a nice kind of just overall rock balance here. I do love having the stone on stone with the boulders and the rocks. And then she brought in some cool features with some of her lanterns, which I think is so cool. And then we have some juniper nana down below as the ground cover here. And then right here, Bryce, this is a Topiary bougainvillea. Now, when I found this bougainvillea, I knew that we wanted a bougainvillea that almost gave us like a bonsai type of look. And so I am very, very excited about this tree, because this tree not only has the the copper along the base and running through the tree to help support it through all of our winds, but it also has it inside, so it helps support the canopy, which is such a rare thing when you're looking at bougainvillea, because I'm commonly searching for bougainvillea that has enough structure in it that once the tree gets beautiful and big, it doesn't just end up breaking in half, which happens a lot. Now this tree is not yet in bloom. I see little blooms starting all over it, but they just went through the trimming cycle, so I'm assuming that's probably cut off most of the blooms. So we incorporated some boulders in this area. And then that little area on the corner of the house right there, that had just quite a bit of issues with water falling. So we ended up putting in some crazy bromeliads. We raised it, and then we put in kind of like a boulder retaining wall right there to kind of give that some interest. And then we chose a bigger stone there that led into the bigger stone here. And then we did a smaller crushed granite in the inside of that, where we put in the lovely, watch yourself, Bryce, those are pointy. So if you look down this way, Bryce, this is a nice incline that you see here. This is actually raised about 5 inches above grade. I don't know if you can catch that on video or not, but I love that we use this big rock here. This is a Tahitian gray granite, but this is the 1 to 3 inch, so it's really, really nice size. And so it kind of created almost like a funnel in this way. Really allowed the water to kind of come off of this corner where water pushed off and come down through this way. And then just to make it interesting, we just ended up putting in a salt and pepper rock here that's much smaller, just to kind of give us a little interesting pop outs. And we chose it here and put in a planter with a green island ficus, because to me this has a little bit of that kind of bonsai tight look, and I think it did a nice job of that. And then we anchored it with some bigger boulders. And see, this little agave here too, Bryce, has a nice little cutout of that kind of stone as well. So just a fun feature in the garden. And to me, if you can play with rocks and different types of rocks and then put in a nice clean divider and to separate that look, it's a small thing that you can do in a small space that really makes that space pop. So, and then this is a granite water feature with obviously a bamboo spout, and it's surrounded with boulders on the outside. It has a 100-gallon reservoir down below, so it just recircles, and the irrigation system adds a little bit of water to it as it tops off, but it just dribbles and gives you that nice subtle small sound going through the garden, which I just think is, I don't know, it's just lovely, and it really suits a small space really, really well. Well, and I think I mentioned this is a small garden with a small garden tour, but yeah, this is pretty much it for this space. I thought it was just a fun one to feature because it's so different than the ones that I normally do, and it really I really want you guys to know that when I'm doing designs, I definitely have my own style in a landscape, but I definitely want to incorporate what's important to the client, what they're really looking to come home to, because that's really what it's all about. It's not about just this is my way or the highway. This is something that, you know, I when I design it and propose it and we walk through it together, it's really got to feel like it's their creation, their style. It's something we've done together. It's definitely a collaborative effect. So a collaborative event, I mean. So it's I think this one came out just the way that she intended it to, and a couple years later she's just raved about it, so she enjoys it just as much. So I hope you guys like it. I hope it gave you some inspiration. Whatever I missed, stick in the comments down below with the timestamp, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. And like and subscribe, and I will see you in the very next garden tour. Make sure you comment True Gardener, True Gardeners, because you made it through the garden tour. I appreciate you, and I will see you for that cup of coffee or glass of wine or whatever that might be in the very next garden tour.
Follow us on Instagram for updates.
And do that too.
Make sure to have a good day.
And that too. Take care, you guys. Happy planting.